Did Zelensky just go from hero to zero? And if so, is that a good thing? All right, so let's talk about it. So a couple of days ago, NATO had a very important meeting in Vilnius, Lithuania. And the marquee topic of this conference was whether or not to bring Ukraine into the NATO alliance. So let's go to an article out of Zero Hedge to kind of summarize what happened. War effort in shambles as hawks turn on each other at NATO summit. Bloomberg is just out with a devastating behind-the-scenes account of a hot-headed Zelensky at the NATO summit in Vilnius and the growing Western backlash in the face of his obvious frustration of what's being seen as ingratitude for the steady flow of billions of dollars in arms to Kyiv. Apparently, even the mainstream media agrees with our own assessment of the Ukrainian leader having thrown a tantrum as he complained about the weak and absurd NATO stance on Ukraine's membership. The blistering tweet he issued in English while en route to Lithuania exposed cracks in the alliance. Zelensky was running hot ahead of his sit-down with NATO leaders on Tuesday evening. The Ukrainian president had been angered earlier in the day by what he said was an absurd reluctance to give his country a clear timeline on membership. That outburst, in turn, riled the partners who have funneled billions of dollars of weaponry and aid into Ukraine's defense against the Russian invasion. The U.S. had been given no warning before Zelensky unleashed his attack on social media. All right, and that brings us to this photo. Does that picture not tell it all? So that picture kind of tells a story, doesn't it, if you look at it? It gives you the image of the nerd being invited to the cool kids party just so they can make fun of him. So there he is, standing in a corner all by himself, hoping that somebody notices him, hoping that somebody comes up and talks to him. One picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Embarrassed man could have sworn invitation said costume party. All day Wednesday, the above very real photo of an isolated, defeated-looking Zelensky standing amid NATO heads of state with backs turned, and things were even more tense behind the scenes. Over dinner in Vilnius with President Joe Biden back at his hotel, the other leaders delivered a clear message to Zelensky, according to one person who was present. You have to cool down and look at the full package, Zelensky was told. While it's not quite yet a full-on hero-to-zero story, things are certainly sliding in that direction, given it's unprecedented that the Ukrainian president, who previously enjoyed rock star status in Western capitals since the start of the invasion, could be told to basically cool it. NATO essentially told Zelensky, yeah, we would love to have you inside of the club, and we will bring you inside of the club, just not yet. The first thing that has to happen is you have to end the war. And basically what they're telling him is, listen, you got to be a little bit nicer, man. We've already given you billions of dollars worth of munitions and aid, and you want us to give you more. So you know what? You need to start showing a little bit of gratitude and a little bit of grace. So if I'm in Zelensky's shoes, I'm starting to wonder just what the commitment is from the West, to my cause. I remember it wasn't very long ago where Joe Biden was saying, whatever it takes. But the cold reality is this war is becoming more and more unpopular with the masses. And the one thing that politicians are good at is keeping track of unpopular issues. Now, this is why I personally think that this is a good thing. In my humble opinion, Ukraine cannot win this war. And the longer it goes on, the more people are going to die. Nothing good can come of this as long as the bullets are flying. And the sooner that Zelensky can see that the writing is on the wall, the sooner he'll probably negotiate a peace. Remember, they did actually have a peace agreement over a year ago, but the kibosh was put on that essentially by the West, particularly America. I'll just go ahead and say it. This war is not about borders. It's not about democracy. It's about money. And the tragedy is poor people are losing their lives for the sake of that. This war should end, and Zelensky should be looking for a way to get to the closest negotiating table he can find. So maybe this little snub, which really wasn't a snub, but he perceives it that way, might help him find his way to that negotiating table. And that's my commentary for the day.